So Trials of Osiris came out on Friday. Last day was basically at 4:59 a.m. this morning before they did the weekly resets. I actually had a pretty awesome experience on Trials of Osiris, mostly because there's something on the line with the win cards, and every other game I've played other than, Black Ops 2 had it with the league divisions and stuff, and then Halo 5, the ranks, or you go to a MOBA like League or something like that, they have the divisions, right? So, like, you're playing for something that will ultimately be rewarded, right? Like, you're going to be rewarded for your play. And so I feel like that makes people actually play at a higher level, like think about what they need to do to win. So I actually enjoy that experience a lot more. That being said, one of I think the biggest gripes that a lot of competitive players have, I wouldn't even say the majority of players in the experience, just the highly competitive players, I probably fall in that a little bit, but I don't particularly care anymore, is that there's no matchmaking that is skill based. So it's all connection based. And Colin, if you had to experience some of the bullshit that I've been going through with these just normal Control, Clash, Crucible playlists, oh my lord, dude, it is. I swear to God, like the last 2 months has been horrendous for like ever since that Crota DLC, dude. I'm finding more and more people that are just like, why are you? How are you able to play? It just makes me really irritated that specifically players that lag in this game are like super hard to kill. They are rewarded in some levels. Like if your lag is just right, you are at a state where you have lag armor. You're basically teleporting around the map, and you can kill people effectively, and you basically become invulnerable. That's the type of shit that bothers me. And I also heard some stuff about people lag switching, which was a problem back on Halo 2, now creeping
Well,
back up again. I
Halo
mean, it's
2,
been
Halo 3, Halo
three,
Reach,
yeah,
every single Bungie Halo,
every
essentially.
single Bungie
I
title.
think Reach may have solved it.
I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
I can't remember. But lag switching is apparently an issue on PlayStation. Some people running into it in trials. I don't know exactly what happens, but there's some videos on it. So I don't know. But Colin, what'd you think? Trials.
Um, I thought, again, like the skill matchmaking thing is kind of a big thing for me. I'm not really that good, but I was still better than like almost everyone that we got matched with. Just I haven't played in ages. Um, I like the format though. I think it's definitely rewarding when you are at like two losses or something and you let off a string of wins and win. Um, I think it seems like because of the tokens or whatever they what are they called?
Passage
The
coins.
passage coins.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that stuff, there's like a little kind of boost, like kind of nudge
Oh,
you in the right direction, where it's like because otherwise everything would average out to 3 and 3, right? Like that would be the average
yeah.
performance.
You're talking about the boons. The boons is what you're
Boons,
talking
yeah.
about.
So like otherwise everything would average out to 3 and 3, which wouldn't get anyone any other ship. But because of the boons, the score averages out a bit higher, right? So
Yeah.
like if you're an average player, you'll end up with like fives instead. I
Right.
think that's pretty. I think it's a clever way of doing it without like harming the integrity of the thing. You know what I mean? You're still the same deal.
Right.
Um, Not flipping sides sucks. I don't know why they wouldn't have sides flip.
I don't mind
Uh,
it, man. To be honest, I just don't. I don't particularly care.
with that map, you don't. Once they change maps, I think
Yeah.
you'll find that it's really frustrating. Um, that map in general is frustrating because of the fucking sun, but that's a different topic entirely.
Yeah.
I don't know, like the heavy round is a bit of a throwaway. I feel like they could do without the heavy round, just because it's either finished in the initial push or it's everyone firing like super rockets at each other, right?
Yeah.
Which kind of like just takes all the skill component out because each team gets one of the heavy spawns and then they just fire rockets at each other till it's over. Uh, I like the way they did ammo. I don't know. The whole thing seems pretty well thought out for the most part. There's obviously some small stuff I change. Overall, it's fun though. The fact that we never even had it come into play, but the fact the objective would have come in, I think helps drive action a bit more.
Right. I agree. I feel like particularly the teams that like to run outside and sit outside and camp. One, right, they're forfeiting map position, which is super critical as you and I know, playing a lot of different shooters. So for the teams that think that they're going to be, a-okay camping out there against the sun, because that we're blind looking at them, like that's just a dumbass strategy, right? Like it doesn't work if you're actually trying to win. It might be good for an off round or something like that, but I think that that objective ultimately ends up forcing play. And if you waste all your rounds, and then you're not grabbing any ammo, you're basically screwed, right? So it's
Right.
like it's just not a smart strategy to play. And I feel like for the most part, every team that we've run into has been particularly not very good when they run that strategy. And they might have some limited success with it. Maybe they're like, oh, we could just roll through doing this, and then they end up playing one of those 5% teams, right? And they get rolled hard. So I find that to be particularly interesting because I mean, literally, guys, and for some of you guys that watch the streams, every single time, nearly like 95% of the time, a team camped outside, we whooped their ass real bad, like 5-1 or 5-0, like real bad. We grabbed all the ammo right off the beginning, and they just got tore up. So, I don't think that is a very good strategy at all. So, I'm hoping that as players start to understand the game mechanic, you'll see that ultimately camping doesn't really win you rounds. It's more about moving to positional advantages, and if you're just sitting in spawn and giving the other team map control, you ultimately end up losing out quite a bit.
Yeah, I do think, again, going back to the skill-based matchmaking, I think they would get way more tension and excitement out of the mode if once you got to like 6 wins or 7 wins, you could only get matched with other teams that have 6 or 7 wins on their card.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about that.
Like, I think that would help increase the tension quite a bit because your last matches should be the hardest, right? Like, if you're talking about kind of progression. I mean, it's really anticlimactic when you get to your ninth game and it's just a complete stomp, and it's
I
like,
mean,
okay, cool.
what if the third match is the hardest, right? Like we had a 5-4 or that 5-3 that we lost with 2 round ties because it was 3v2. Like that was actually really fun
It was a fun
for
match,
me.
but it sucked for me because I was like, oh, this run's dead. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because really, if you
right.
lose one game, the run's dead. Even if you have all your shit, I think if you lose one run, the run's dead. Or one game, I think the run's dead because everyone wants a 9-0, right? So like to me, I'd rather have that be towards the end than have it be early. And I don't necessarily think like each match needs to be skill matched. I just think like towards the back half, it should be matched with people of similar status.
Yeah.
So
So the other thing I wanted to mention, you talked about this, and it's something I think that Destiny has an issue where they need to solve long term for the game. Is I understand that exotics, you want to use exotics, right? Exotics are the best weapons to use. However, in PvP, there's like 3 weapons that people use, and in Trials, it's even more evident what those 3 weapons are, right? It is Thorn, Last Word, Red Death. Sometimes you also see Vex Mythoclass, or again, Red Death, Vex Mythoclass. But basically, those 3-4 weapons are predominantly what you see in the game mode, despite there being I don't know how many primary exotics. Obviously, secondary exotics, which aren't going to see as much, nor the heavies, because heavy only spawns, once every 3 rounds. So, I don't see there being a need necessarily to have those there, but at least for the primaries, I think across the board they need to do a little bit more leveling out with some of those. Would you agree?
yeah, I mean it's frustrating in general for me to play and not have those weapons.
Yeah.
Um, like I could hit full headshots on people and still lose fights, even though I hit every single shot headshot and got the first shot. Just because those weapons are outright better. So it sucked from that perspective for me. I imagine other people feel the same way. Like especially PVE guys coming over are probably like mad annoyed getting hit by a thorn in particular.
Yeah. I mean, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I mean,
At the same time, like there's always gonna be the best 3 weapons.
yeah. Memphis,
Otherwise, it
I
makes
would
everything
say
feel weak.
he said he saw a bit of quite a bit of visional confluence. I saw a little bit, not quite a bit. I saw a little bit of visional confluence and a little bit of some other weapons, but I mean, predominantly Thorn is what we saw, and I could go through probably my 5 or 6 hours of, well, it's more than that. It's probably like 20 hours of stream footage, and I guarantee almost 9 times out of 10 at the beginning of a round it was Thorn, 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 Vex, 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 Thorn, Thorn. I didn't really see too many visions of confluence at all. So I saw one person using this scholar, another person using. I used vision of confluence once, but I wouldn't say that any of those were quite frequent. So I would definitely like to see some more of those.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it is just that mode plays out that way, right? It's really pokey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's really hard to just like outright push because of the way the revive stuff works. Like your body ends up in the middle of the enemy team if you die, and
right.
then there's no chance in hell they're gonna be able to get you. Versus dying to a snipe, they have to go push you afterwards, right? In order to go get on top of the body and protect it. So
Yep.
like a lot of that just has to do with the reviver mechanics, which I feel like are too short as well. Like the time to wait before you can revive a player, as well as the meter to revive them, I think are both too short for that mode.
Hmm.
I've always been kind of annoyed by the fact
I
that you get a big shield when you revive someone, and the person that you revive gets a shield.
Well, you pick a stronger sniper.
To
Blast through that
go through
sniper.
both shields.
Yeah, blast through that shield rather with the sniper.
I can't think of any other game that does shit like that.
With Gears, it was an instant revive. So why are you upset with the time?
I mean, Gears, you had to like the way the game worked. I think was just different in the
Not only
sense that
that, with Gears, you could crawl towards a person.
Gears also didn't give shields.
That's true.
Like, how many times did we just down both people during a revive
A
and
lot.
continually down them, or like just straight up three down them, right?
Yeah.
In Destiny, there's a revive, and then you have to fucking run or have everyone shooting at them.
I don't know about that. I feel like you're kind of at a disadvantage. Like if you have your nades or if you're team shooting, I mean, in a 1v1 situation, yes, you need to run. If your team is surrounding them, then they're dead. Personally, that's why. I mean, there's been a couple times where some people got some clutch revives and they're able to, turn a round around. But I don't know, man. I didn't feel like that was. I didn't feel like revives were something to look at.
And the point, so you also have to stand still while reviving in Gears. Like we saw one guy during our games. You remember? He just straight up while he was running,
dude, like,
he just drive by, ran past. He ran past at full speed and revived the guy without stopping for a beat.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, there's no penalty to it, right? He was just pushing. So
You're crazy. That's crazy. The
I personally think it hurts the mode, which is very focused around killing.
So you mentioned round switching. Last thing I want to talk about is what do you think about map rotations? Should it? Oh, well, actually, there's two more things I want to talk about: 3v3 and then map rotations. But do you think that the map should rotate? Do you think it should be like 3 maps? Someone had mentioned that during my stream yesterday. Or are you okay with 1?
I was okay with 1 because I don't mind that map. But if it was like a map I didn't like, I'd be pretty frustrated.
Like Blind Watch?
If it was like Blind Watch would be the worst.
I think Blind Watch would be the absolute worst match you could. Actually, I mean, if they threw in one of the big maps, that would be worse than Blind Watch.
Oh, yeah.
But
First Light, was that the moon one?
yeah, First Light was the moon. Bastion was that Mars one, and the other one is called Sky Shock, which is Colin. It's Ghost Recon, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, like if it was one of those, I'd be a bit more annoyed. I can see why it might suck for people because it'd be like, oh, I got a map that we really suck at, or I don't know very well at the time that I needed to win. You know,
Right.
I don't know, I can see an argument for that, but at the same time, like, I question how much longevity they're gonna get out of the mode if it's just one map. I imagine it's probably annoying for a lot of people, where it's like, oh, this fucking map. You've heard people talk about content in games before.
Yeah. What's
and
up, character?
Small map lists, right? And
Yep.
it kind of touches to those points where it's like, if you're someone that's annoyed by that stuff, you're gonna get turned off by the mode.
Someone did mention that Titans are underplayed. Major Black mentioned Titans are underplayed. I noticed that. Well, I wouldn't say I did notice that. I would say that if you were playing against a better team, there's a higher odds that they would not be using a Titan. But I felt like because you had a lot of PvE guys in there that didn't know what they were doing, they were like rolling. It was funny. I actually watched. Listen to this. I watched, and this is how I know some people have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And this is not saying anything like negative about them, but just like you could just tell they play PvE. I was watching the Polygon video, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I feel like you should run all the classes. That seems like that would be the best strategy. You know, there's one Titan, one Hunter, one Sunsinger, one Warlock. That seems like that'd be pretty good."
Because there's so much interplay between them.
Yeah, he was like, "It seems like the teams that we were playing, they had a nice balance between those." And I was like, "You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about right now." But okay, dude, right on. I could tell you play a whole lot of PvE, and he willingly admitted that. But I think that for a lot of the Titans that are playing, like you're at a severe disadvantage as a Titan in PvP. Just
Well, yeah,
straight up.
especially like in Trials, Golden Gun's a free round, Arcblade's a free round, um, Sunsinger Revive can turn around. Like all those things can win you around. Bubble Shield, not going to win around. Ground Pound, probably not going to win you around. But like Golden Gun, I feel every single time I had Golden Gun up, we were going to win the round, almost
Yep.
guaranteed.
Yep.
Unless someone also had a Golden Gun to shoot me as I came around the corner, right? Uh, so I don't know why you'd pick anything other than Gunslinger or Blade Dancer.
Yep.
I can see an argument for some of the Warlock stuff. But
Warlock
it's not
Warlock
very
is fine with action bolt, right? So you got the Hound Dog grenades, and
yeah.
then blink for scooting around the map, dodging shots, getting you out of trouble, really good. And then I feel like sometimes that Nova Bomb can be really good. So you combo those three together. I wouldn't say Nova Bomb is better than Arc Blade or Golden Gun or Sunsinger, but it's up there. Again, it's kind of in tandem with Blink. So I honestly I feel like that's pretty good. Now there are some really good PvP Titans, but man, talking about a world of hurt.
I just don't see why you'd do it over any of the others. Which really, Destiny's class stuff is really weak in general. So
Yeah. Um, and then there was one more thing I was going to mention, but I can't remember what it was. I think that's it. I think we can end on that note. Move on to